Hello, what's going on, YouTubers? Again, a lot have happened over the past several days within this week. Though I do, thank God, I do have some, bit of, not exactly free time, but another opportunity to review and go through with you guys, the book called Investments, 10th edition, authored and co-authored by Bodie, Zvi, and some other folks. And they are, along with reviewing and going through parts of this book with you guys, I would like also to rant and vent a bit about my shitty life as always. Anyway, guys, without further ado, let's get to it. And I sincerely hope that you all shall bear with me to the end of this filming session. So in my previous, during my previous book club video, I suppose I reviewed and read a bit about chapter 20. Now, somehow I found chapter 23, and it mainly talks about future swaps and risk management. It's very first section, right? That comes right after the brief introduction of the whole chapter. Has introduced and illustrated some fundamental concepts of foreign exchange futures. I suppose it has I might need to apply some of its principles and core concepts to a practical scenario. Since my work, my business undertakings involve quite lots of goods and services pertaining to foreign trade, to a bit of international relations, I suppose, and yes, definitely some e-commerce. So yeah, let's get to it. Chapter 23, Futures, Swaps, and Risk Management. The previous chapter provided a basic introduction to the operation of futures, markets, and the principles of futures pricing. This chapter explores both pricing and risk management in selected futures markets in more depth. Most of the growth has been in financial futures, which dominates trading, so we emphasize these contracts. A bit of disclaimer here, it counts as fair use, when the primary purpose of including and embedding some of this, book's content into my own video is to study, to research, to dive into the nature of investment, of how to make investments, and how to make a bit of so-called easy money, or at least passive income. So no copyright infringements intended. And yes, as always, I mainly aim to train up my speech articulation and to soothe the boredom of learning shite and loneliness along the way by making this video. And I don't intend to monetize this video, and any video that comes there after pertaining to reviewing and reading parts of this particular book. In other words, I don't intend to monetize it even by any chance of fortunate occasions should my channel in the future qualify for YouTube's shitty monetization program. And plus, although I embedded a link to my Patreon page on such video so that I can earn some travel money to fund my own living expenses and escape from persecutions and harm, particularly from wicked women and other parties and or individuals posing dangers, harms, and hurt to me. Meanwhile, I shall also carefully invest some of you guys' kind patronage to generate a bit of extra income in order to purchase better gears as well as equipment for the sake of more quality videos and content creation. You know, both at the present and in the future, if God willing. So yeah, let's resume. So hedging refers to techniques that offset particular sources of risk. Hedging activities, therefore, are more limited and more focused than more ambitious strategies seeking an optimal risk-return profile for an entire portfolio. Because futures contracts are written on specific quantities, such as stock index values, foreign exchange rates, commodity prices, and so on. They are ideally suited for these applications. In this chapter, we will consider several hedging applications, illustrating general principles using a variety of contracts. We also show how hedging strategies can be used to isolate bets on perceived profit opportunities. So yeah, that kind of reminds me hedge funds, but I have no idea yet what it has to do with this chapter in the book. And you know, it seems the author intends to teach us how to benefit from placing a bet at a casino. I don't suppose that refers to the main goal of this book anyway, but you know, it's just a kind of, you know, a bit of a sarcastic humor. Yeah, anyway, yeah. Resume. We begin with foreign exchange futures, where we show how forward exchange rates are determined by interest rate differentials across countries and examine how firms can use futures to manage exchange rate risk. Let's lower the volume. Yeah. So we begin with foreign exchange futures, where we show how forward exchange rates are determined by interest rate differentials across countries and examine how firms can use futures to manage exchange rate risk. We then move on to stock index futures, where we focus on program trading and index arbitrage. What's this one? Arbitrage? Arbitrage, oh shit, let's look it up.
Austerity.
Arbitrage. Arbitrary. Is that a French word? Arbitrage. The method on the stock exchange of buying something in one place and selling it in another place at the same time in order to make a profit from the difference in pricing of the two places. Oh, I see. So that's arbitrage.
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 Arbitrage. Arbitrage.
Arbitrage.
Arbitrage.
Arbitrage.
Arbitrage. Arbitrage. Arbitrage. Arbitrage.
Arbitrage. Okay. So yeah, when we focus on the program trading and index arbitrage, next we turn to the most actively traded markets, those for interest rate futures. We also examine commodity futures pricing. Finally, we turn to swaps markets in foreign exchange and fixed income securities. We will see that swaps can be interpreted as portfolios of forward contracts and valued accordingly. Okay, so a relatively brief summary here. I still don't quite understand, how we should, be undertaking these tasks in order to make some amount of fortune that can sustain our living expenses. But let's resume. So section 23, yes, section 23.1, foreign exchange futures. The markets. Exchange rates between currencies vary accordingly and often substantially. This variability can be a source of concern for anyone involved in international business. A U.S. exporter who sells goods in England, for example, will be paid in British pounds, and the dollar value of those pounds depends on the exchange rate at the time payment is made. Until that date, the U.S. exporter is exposed to foreign exchange rate risk. This risk can be hedged through currency futures or forward markets. Yeah. So basically, the author says here, we can mitigate or minimize, if not completely neutralize, such risks pertaining to foreign exchange rates. Yeah. For example, if you know, you will receive 100,000 pounds, in 90 days. You can sell those pounds forward today in the forward market and lock in an exchange rate equal to today's forward price. The forward market in foreign exchange is fairly informal. It is simply a network of banks and brokers that allows customers to enter forward contracts to purchase or sell currency in the future at a currently agreed upon rate of exchange. Yeah. Well, this one is fairly easy to understand, I suppose. Yeah. Although, despite its length, so basically, yeah, it's in my books, yeah, it's just learn the right information and take actions at the right moment in the right place. But you don't actually have to wait until everything becomes, until every condition, every circumstance becomes optimal or flawless. You have to, take action, keep taking actions, so that you learn the ropes, you learn the drills. Yeah. But there will be times in which you have to kind of take a break, pause for some time, take a break, take a rest, and ponder and ruminate about what I did wrong in the past, what I should be doing, at the present and the future. Yeah. So next we have the bank market in currencies. is among the largest in the world, and most large traders with sufficient credit worthiness execute their trades here rather than in futures markets. So the bank market also plays a key role here. Since here it says the bank market in currencies is among the largest in the world, and most large traders with sufficient credit worthiness execute their trades here rather than in the futures markets. Unlike those in futures markets, contracts in forward markets are not standardized in a formal market setting. Instead, each is negotiated separately. Moreover, there's no marking to market as would occur in futures markets. Currency forward contracts call for execution only at the maturity date. Participants need to consider counterparty risk. Not sure about what this means. Counterparty risk. Counterparty risk. The possibility that a trading partner may not be able to make good on its obligations under the contract if prices move against it. For this reason, traders who participate in forward markets must have solid credit worthiness. Okay. Next we have currency futures, however, trade in foreign exchanges such as the Chicago Mercantile Exchange International Monetary Market or the London International Financial Futures Exchange. LIFFE. Here, contracts are standardized by size, and daily market to market is observed. Moreover, standard clearing arrangements allow traders to enter or reverse positions easily. So yeah, that basically says if you go to a standardized currency futures or futures contracts exchange platform of some sort, you will get a more streamlined place in which you can make swaps, make exchanges fairly quickly. Though I can't say it's risk free, since we all have to expect troubles and pitfalls all along the way. So yeah, be careful, always be careful. Though despite the core principle that we must take actions wherever and whenever appropriate. Moreover, here contracts are standardized by size and daily market to market is observed. Moreover, standard clearing arrangements allow traders to enter or reverse positions easily. Margin positions are used to ensure contract performance, which is in turn guaranteed by the exchange's clearinghouse. So the identity and credit worthiness of the counterparty to a trade are less of a concern. Figure 23.1 reproduces the Wall Street Journal listing of foreign exchange spot and forward rates. The listing gives the number of US dollars required to purchase some unit of foreign currency, and then the amount of foreign currency needed to purchase $1. Shall I show you the graph here? Well, nah. it's too risky and it carries with too many risks, and it's too much trouble. Actually, it's kind of a bit of tricky to switch between an image or a scene, from another, and then to and fro, blah blah blah. So yeah, figure 23.2 reproduces future listings, which shows the number of dollars needed to purchase a given unit of foreign currency. Okay, we shall get back to that later. In figure 23.1, both spot and forward exchange rates are listed for various delivery dates. The forward quotations listed in figure 23.1 apply to rolling delivery in 30, 90, or 180 days. Thus, tomorrow's forward listings will apply to a maturity date 1 day later than today's listing. In contrast, the futures contracts in figure 23.2 mature on only 4 dates each year, in March, June, September, and December. So they all source these figures and graphs from the Wall Street Journal. That might be, that might harbor a bit of biases, since there's only one single source. They only, and when the authors mention, the exchange rates, say, between pound, between British pound and US dollars and some other sort of currency, they only refer to an American source instead of a British source or some other source, say a European source, a non-British European source. So yeah, that's kind of that kind of compromises the credibility, the credibility of their statements. Don't you agree? Or at least don't you begin to suspect? For the sake of critical thinking. Yeah. So what's next? I'm not that good at math, but I will try to vocalize and give a bit of a critics on the equations. They mentioned in the book. They mentioned and presented in the book. Anyway, so interest. So then we have interest rate parity, which is, as is true of stocks and stock futures. There is a spot futures exchange rate relationship that will prevail in well-functioning markets. Should this so-called interest rate parity relationship be violated, arbitrages. Need to look up this by. Person who makes money from arbitrage. Arbitrager. Yeah. Well, I know what it means, though. I needed to look up its pronunciation just to be sure. Arbitrager. Better safe than sorry, isn't it? Okay, so should this so-called interest rate parity relationship be violated, arbitrageurs will be able to make risk-free profits in foreign exchange markets with zero net investment. Wow, really? Let's read on. Their actions will force futures and spot exchange rate back into alignment. Another term for interest rate parity is the covered interest arbitrage relationship. We can illustrate the interest rate parity theorem by using two currencies, the US dollar and the British pound. Call E naught the current exchange rate between the two currencies. That is, E naught dollars are required to purchase £1. F naught, the forward price, is the number of dollars agreed to today for purchase of £1 at the time. T, call the risk-free rates in the United States and United Kingdom. Small r, US, and RUK, respectively. The interest rate parity theorem then states that the proper relationship between E naught and F naught is F naught equals E naught times bracket 1 plus RUS divided by 1 RUK to the power of T. Yeah, denoted as equation number 23.1. For example, if RUS is equal to 0.04 and RUK 0.05 annually, while E naught equals to $2 per pound, then the proper futures price for a 1-year contract would be $2 times bracket 1.04 divided by 1.05 bracket equals $1.981 per pound. Dollars per pound. Oh, okay. I can't believe I managed to read this aloud. In which it involves two mathematical equations. Yeah, it's kind of unprecedented for me. Maybe I managed to unlock a certain type of achievement in my shitty life. I don't know. You decide. I will leave that. The writer. I'll leave that judgment to you guys here. If God willing. So then we have consider the intuition behind equation 23.1. If RUS is less than RUK, money invested in the United States will grow at a slower rate than money invested in the United Kingdom. Since we have RUS that is equal to 0.04 and RUK that equals 0.05. So we have a 0.01 rate of growth higher in Great Britain than in US. In terms of the amount of money invested there. When we take the current exchange rate between these two currencies into consideration. So as the author here says, I repeat, consider the intuition behind equation 23.1. If RUS is less than RUK, money invested in the US will grow at a slower rate than the money invested in the United Kingdom. Well, theoretically, yes, but if you take some other factors into consideration, that might not be the case. Well, but for now, let's make a rather foolish assumption here that let's give the authors the benefit of doubt for now and read on and see what the book presents us with next. Yeah. Let's not come to a conclusion too hastily, too premature. Since I've just read and reviewed a tiny fraction, tiny bit of it. But I don't suppose I intend to review the whole book since it's freaking tedious. But I will try my best to see how far I can go. You go with it. Next we have if this is so, why wouldn't all investors decide to invest their money in the United Kingdom? One important reason why not is that the dollar may be appreciating relative to the pound. Although dollar investments in the United States grow slower than pound investments in the United Kingdom, each dollar may be worth more pounds in the forward market than in the spot market. Such a forward premium can exactly offset the advantage of the higher UK interest rate. Yeah, that makes quite some sense. Yeah. So it's fairly straightforward, yeah. Well, theoretically speaking, so far so good, yeah. To complete the argument, we ask how an appreciating dollar would show up in equation 23.1. If the dollar is appreciating, fewer dollars are required to purchase each pound, and the forward exchange rate F0 in dollars per pound will be less than E0, the current exchange rate. This is exactly what equation 23.1 tells us. When RUS is less than RUK, F0 must be less than E0. The forward premium of the dollar embodied in the ratio of F0 to E0 exactly compensates for the difference in interest rates available in the two countries. Of course, the argument also works in reverse, so that, in other words, vice versa. If RUS is greater than RUK, then F0 is greater than E0. Okay, so then we have some examples. Yeah, I'll take it down for now. Yeah, see you guys later. God still willing. Yeah, I beg your pardon. Cheers. Until next time. God still willing. Bye. Cheers. Thank you very much for watching this video.